Hello, and welcome back to the Messy Success Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Henson. You guys are going to absolutely love my special guest today. Katrina Widener is a business coach, podcast host, and community leader. She helps entrepreneurs get lit up in business through her custom coaching community. And what I love so much about Katrina is she's really passionate about human design. And what we're going to dig into in this episode is she actually does a little bit of coaching with me and helps me with my decision making authority. And if you have no idea what human design is or what your decision making authority is, you are in for a treat. So buckle up, get out your notepads. She has a freebie on her website as well that we're going to put all this good stuff in the show notes for you. But I wanted to make sure that I gave her freebie a shout out. It's a workbook. And you can find it at katrinawidener.com/free coaching. And again, we will put that all in the show notes for you guys. You guys can find that at elizabethhenson.co and just click on podcast and you can find all the goodies there. But let's go ahead and get started. You guys are going to absolutely love Katrina. She has the best energy and this was so helpful for me. And you guys get to listen to it in real time. All right, let's get started. All right. Hi, Katrina. I am so excited to have you on here today to talk all things human design because, as you know, I am totally new to it. So tell us what the heck it is.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited. So basically what human design is, and like the way that I describe it for people who are like not as much in the woo world, is if you think of like a personality test, right? You think of like the Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, and like then people are kind of like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. But what we really say that human design is like it's a user's manual for yourself. Right? Like all entrepreneurs are kind of like, I want that roadmap. Can you just like give me the steps of how to be successful so I don't have to like do this trial and error and figure it out as I go thing? And human design is basically the closest that I can get to being like, here is your roadmap. Here is basically like how your energy works within your body and within the world around you. And that is like everything from the way that you in particular make decisions differently from the people around you, or your marketing style, your sales cycle, like what energy you have access to. Do you have access to your own emotions consistently, or is it a little bit more inconsistent, right? Like all of those sorts of things that we're kind of always asking these questions about, like, okay, I want to learn how to make like a decision really confidently and know exactly where I'm going in my business or in my personal life. And it's really as simple as like looking it up. And like nobody really knows that until you discover human design. So it's something that I use with every one of my clients in my business, and I've seen it like change lives. So I'm super excited, even though that feels like weird to say, like it changes lives, but it really does.
No, I love it. That's so cool. And you know that like decision making is always kind of a struggle for me. Like I've really held myself accountable to try to make faster decisions around certain things, but it still sometimes can be a really uncomfortable process for me. And I do know my type, but that's as far as I've gotten. So I don't know if you want
Okay.
to walk me through that or if you want me to just tell you what I am.
I mean, I have your chart pulled up.
Oh,
So
cool.
I
Okay. So
have
I
I
thought
have the
I
whole.
put it in there. Cool.
Yes, yes. So, when it comes to human design, just so everybody who's listening understands what we're talking about, think of it almost as like one of those old school family trees where you have like grandma and grandpa, or like great, 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 great grandma and grandpa at the top. And then there's like the lines to the next generation, and then the lines that go to the next generation. Human design can be very similar, where there's at the very top, the most basic way to like describe yourself is within those 5 different types. And these are just different types of how your energy operates within your body in terms of like life force energy. And there's so much more to it than just that. But for instance, I'm a generator, and you're a manifesting generator, that means that we create our own energy and we can go, 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 go all day long. We can wake up in the morning, and as long as it's something we're really passionate about, could literally do it for hours and hours and hours, go out with friends and like come back home at 11 p.m. and feel fully satisfied.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not all of the types are like that. There's over a billion different configurations of human design. So, like, is he growling? Hold on. Gordo.
Katrina's dog sitting, so we're having quite the
Yes.
adventure
Sorry,
here.
everyone.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Um,
It was like this
I
cute little like rumble.
I live by the airport, so at first I thought it was just like a airplane coming over. Okay. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep going. Gordo, it's okay. You're okay. So
So we can go, go, go. And
yes.
that's 100% true. As long as I'm like in that passion place, I don't get tired.
100%. And so, like, for you being a manifesting generator, like, that might be the biggest bucket, but I wouldn't even say that that's like the number one most important part of being like your human design. The number one thing that I like normally tell people is that decision making authority, that way that you make decisions, because even if you're aligned, like because of your energy, you're not aligned with your decisions, right? So, like, you could be like 100% doing what like generators are meant to do, which is like lighting themselves up every single day, like doing the things that bring them just like big, juicy, joyful energy.
Hmm.
And but if you're making unaligned decisions, you're not going to feel that joyful energy. You're not going to be able to get to that place. You're not going to be able to like get lit up all day long every single day by the things that you're passionate about. So like that's one of the big differences is like when we know our decision making authority, it's incredibly incredibly powerful. But I'll talk a little bit really quickly about what those 5 types are and why they are so important. We have the manifester, the generator, the manifesting generator. Then we have the projector and the reflector. And
Mm.
so, like, generators are here to build. That's what I am. Like, we're here to do, we're here to really light ourselves up and like build the things that are incredibly impactful for us. So, like, for me, like, building community, right? Like, we've talked
Hmm.
about this. Like, building community is huge for me. That is something that I could literally wake up in the morning and do all day long. Like, meet with people and network, like, do the things to build my community. For you as a manifesting generator, you're just an express builder. So, like, you might be like, okay, I have this like new project I'm working on, and I got really excited about it. It seemed like so much fun. I'm going to do the first 10 steps immediately, and then I'm going to do like step 17, and then I'm going to come back and do like step like 3 again, and then I'm going to go do step like 25. And like it is very much just like multi-passionate. Like, I'm going to do this when I feel inspired to, and like you still have that energy to do, but whereas a generator is going to kind of be like slow and steady, just going to do step by step by step by step. A manifesting generator is more like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm going to work on all of this stuff right away. And I'm going to get like 50% of the project done immediately. And then I'm
Hmm.
going to take the rest of the time because I got like a little shiny object syndrome. And I'm really excited about this other project too. But that doesn't mean you don't finish your projects, right?
Yeah.
Normally, what we say is generators and manifesting generators take the same amount of time to do a project,
Hmm.
but the manifesting generators are kind of doing it a little bit more sporadically, where the generators are just like steadily moving on throughout the whole project at the exact same like pace the whole time.
So
So
interesting. And yes, I would definitely find that true. Like some days I'm like, all I want to do is podcast. And then some days I'm like, I don't feel like podcasting.
yes, that's exactly it. And it's probably like one of those days where it's like, all I want to do is podcast. I'm going to do 5 podcast interviews in one day. And then like you don't touch it again for 3 weeks. Like
Yeah.
that totally, totally is like traditional manifesting generator. If we go to a manifester, which the manifesting generator has a little bit of manifester energy, they're really here. Like, I like to think about all the types as a team. Like, if you think of like a work team where you have the person who's like, oh my gosh, I have this brilliant idea, let's go do it. That's who the manifester is, right? The manifester is the person who, like, through like literally no inspiration outside of themselves, can just be like, oh my gosh, I have an amazing idea. And then to the manifesting generation and generators, they're like, let's go do it. Right. Like, the generators are here to build. The generators are not here to have huge light bulb moments without inspiration from the outside. We might be able to
Mm.
be like, oh, someone is doing an ad for a podcast and my friend's doing a podcast and I just bought this mic because I was on a podcast. Maybe I should do a podcast, right? Like, that's being inspired by our environments. The
Mm-hmm.
manifester could just literally wake up one day and be like, I think I'm going to do a podcast now. And like, that's the way their energy works. That is not the way anyone else's energy works. Like, if you are not a manifester, don't cold call, don't initiate, right? Like, don't do those things because it's not going to feel good to you. It's going to feel like pushing energy. Whereas for a manifesting generator or generator, if we're like, oh, someone else had given me this inspiration and now I'm going to act on it, that's going to feel aligned. That's going to feel really good. And like it's in flow, we'll say. So the
Yeah.
other,
So
yeah.
would you say an example of this is like the fact that I have no issues like going live without a script or pre-planning anything I'm ever going to say? Is that typical of like the manifesting side of things?
I would say somewhat, not to go like too rabbit holey on human design, but we
Yeah.
also have, like I was mentioning, consistent and inconsistent access to different energies in our body. You have consistent
Mhm.
access to your throat. So that means that like
Ah.
you consistently can like do a podcast, speak at events, write for yourself because and like go live, like what you're saying, because you know like you have consistent access to your own words, to your own voice.
Oh,
So
so
like the
interesting.
manifesting generator is part of that, but it's also like I have to look at the chart as a whole when I look at these things, which is why
Yeah.
it's so helpful for like my clients, because if you were my client and you were coming to me and you're like, I don't really know what type of content I want to create, like maybe I should like do a podcast, maybe I don't know, I'd be like, well, you have like a your defined throat center, like you have consistent access to your own voice. A podcast makes a ton of sense for you. Where if
Mhm.
you didn't, I might be like, well, let's look at your chart and see what does make sense for you, because then it's going to, again, feel like that pushing energy.
So interesting. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're already like aligned with what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes, but like my big struggle is right now like just figuring out my social media like content. Like it just feels like such a pain point for me to try to get consistent and provide this really amazing customer journey on Instagram through images and words when I'm
hmm
already realizing that I show up best through like voice or speaking.
And the thing that's interesting about that too is, so like you're saying, like, okay, social media content, struggling to find like my place in that. There's a different part in your chart that I'm like, oh, okay. So what, like literally while you're talking, I was like, oh, like what personality profile does she have?
Yeah.
Because a lot of our marketing secrets live within that personality profile. So like for you, you're what's called a 1-3, which it's two different numbers. Everybody has like two numbers and they're ranging from 1 to 6 for each of them. So
Uh-huh.
you are a 1-3. That means consciously your personality is a 1, which is like this love of learning. And like when I say learning, like traditional learning, like this love of like reading books, listening to podcasts, taking courses, kind of this feeling of like, oh my gosh, I want to be certified in this thing, or going down rabbit holes when you find like a topic that feels really, really exciting to you and being like, oh my gosh, I want to learn all the things about this. Like that's your conscious personality. Your subconscious personality is the 3, which is like learning through trial and error, learning by experimenting and failing and picking yourself up and doing it again, which is always fun for me because the 1-3 profile, I'm like, so you just love to learn in all of the ways, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that also means that like you get to be the expert, right? Like you're like, I've learned about all these things. Now I can share like the messiness of my experience. I can say, oh my gosh, guys, I went down this rabbit hole on this topic about Facebook groups. And like, I cannot wait to share what I found with you. Right. It really is just this like natural self expression and almost like impulsive, like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of this. This is what I'm learning. This is what I'm figuring out. And people love watching that journey. They love watching that like messy middle.
Oh
And
my
it's
gosh,
just
that's
like,
so accurate.
yeah.
So accurate.
And this is what I love about human design, because like you're given the permission then to just say like, hey, when I feel inspired by a topic to share it, when I feel like really like creative and it feels really effortless, that's aligned with me. That's not me
Mhm.
doing social media wrong. That's not me shooting on myself. And for everyone, I said shoulding on myself, just to
You
clarify.
can totally say shit too. It's fine.
But because like when you're saying, oh, I should have a consistent social media schedule, I should sit down and batch all of these things, that's playing against your manifesting generatorness, right? Manifesting
Mm-hmm.
generator is, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this, I'm going to act right now and then not touch it again for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And that's going against your personality profile, which is like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this, I'm going to share this now, right? And so like to have pre-planned out content, it probably feels good to you because I can tell in your chart that you like structure, like you like having at least somewhat of like a scaffolding of a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But your energy really works in ways when you're just like really inspired and really lit up. So like for you, what I would recommend if you were my client would be like, okay, those moments when you're really, really inspired and really lit up and like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, I can't wait to share it with you. That's when you batch, right? You
Yeah.
like create a whole bunch of content then instead of just being like, I'm going to share this right now on my stories and then never, I mean, share it on your stories too, right? Like don't like
Yeah.
limit yourself. But if you like that sense of structure and you like having that something like batched or like a content schedule, but you do it when you're in this place of like, oh my gosh, like this is so fun and amazing. That's how you make both work for you instead of like, oh my gosh, I need to sit down and actually plan out this content schedule, but I really don't want to do it. And I've been putting it off for weeks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so interesting. I do feel like I still struggle even if I am like in the moment and inspired, but I'm like, "Oh, but I'm going to wait and post this a week from now." It's like it's lost. Like I'm like, a week
Mm.
from now." I'm like, But I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing something else."
Which is also fair, right?
Yeah.
Like there are things that work for everyone and don't work for everyone, and this is the beauty of being a generator or a manifesting generator is our strategy is to respond, like to
Mm.
respond to our environments, respond to stimuli. So like I gave you an idea and you responded to it and you like took it through your decision making authority and you were like, "Oh my gosh, but this feels better." Right? Like that
Yeah.
is like when I talk about business coaching, guys, I'm just giving you things to respond to. I'm giving you like a path that you can take, and then I'm helping guide you through figuring out whether or not that's the right thing for you, right? Like it's a combination of being that person who knows how to bring out the true you and knows how to bring out exactly like you know what you want. Like let's just like hone in on what you want. I'll give you the strategies to figure out which ones you want, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's less about like, okay, you're going to hire me and I'm going to be like, boom, 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 boom. You have to do all of these things because they worked for me. And who knows if they're going to work for you or not, but I'll just give you this cookie cutter advice. It's more like, no, like, let's like make this really personalized. Let's make sure that this works for you. And I always tell my clients, I'm like, your decision making strategy like trumps me, right? It trumps
Mhm.
everything, including me. So,
Mhm.
I never did finish talking about all 5 types, so
Oh
maybe
yeah.
we'll do that. But then I will talk to you about your decision-making authority, so then that you like, no, 100%. I don't think you're gonna be surprised by it, like, I can already
Okay.
tell. So the other 2 types, if we go back to that almost like team, like, atmosphere where we have the manifestor who's like, "Oh my gosh, I have this idea," and we have the generator and the manifesting generator who are like, "Cool, I'm gonna create it." Then we have the projector who's here to say like we call the projectors the advisors. They're here to be able to like zoom out, see the big picture and kind of guide people and give advice to make everything even that much better. Projectors do not create their own energy, neither do manifestors. So where we can like go all day long, a projector is super efficient, so they only have to work like 3 to 4 hours a day. Like
Mm.
if a projector is working as a generator, they will get sick. Like that is
Mm.
like if you are a projector listening to this and you've like looked up your own chart or anything like that, like you will get sick because your energy doesn't work that way. So you're just constantly overworking. Unfortunately, projectors are also one of the most likely to be conditioned to become a workaholic because they
Mm.
feel like they constantly have to be keeping up with the generators and the manifesting generators of the world. Our society is created on a generator manifesting generator like cycle, right? If you think about the fact that we have 40-hour work weeks, if not more, in traditional like 9 to 5 culture, and it is like you wake up in the morning, you go all day long. You finally around 5 p.m. stop and like take a break. Like that is not how a manifester, a reflector, or a projector work. That is only generator energy. And so like projectors have been trained that like, no, you're lazy. You are so tired all the time because you just can't keep up. So that means that they are more conditioned to work too much or to be like to find their worth based off of their work. So
Mm.
a warning to any projectors listening to this, like take it easy, build rest into your life. Otherwise, you will get sick. You will get very sick. You will have digestive issues. You will have adrenal issues. Like those people who have chronic fatigue probably are projectors. um, and really, a projector, though, is like here to give advice, but not unsolicited advice. So it's
Mm.
very much like you have to be invited to give your advice, whether it's personal advice to a friend or family member, whether it is professional advice, courses, services, right? To sell to someone, you need to be invited to say, like, oh my gosh, like, how do I work with you? Otherwise, things are not going to be super successful for you. And
So
then at the end, we have reflectors. Reflectors do not have any consistent energy of their own throughout any center. So for them, that means that they are a mirror of their environments. They are a mirror of the people who they are around. So say I am a generator and I'm not lighting myself up and I am very, very frustrated and I'm like doing things that I hate and I'm shitting on myself, and a reflector comes into my world, a reflector is going to feel every single one of those feelings because they are the ultimate empath. They are literally like an open window, and all of my energy can just go suck straight out through that window into them. Which is why we also say it is the responsibility of generators and manifesting generators to light themselves up every single day, because otherwise you will affect the energy of the people around you. But the fact that reflectors are like essentially the world's biggest empath, they have no consistent energy in their centers of their own. That means that they are also amazing at like feeling through an environment, noticing where things are like the vibes are wrong, like being able to really sit down and like reflect back to someone the truth of who they are or what they're feeling. A
mm.
lot of energy healers are great. Like a lot of reflectors are great energy healers, I should say, because they're able to really take in all of your energy and just be like, oh my gosh, I can see something here. I can see something there. Right. So, like tarot card readers, Reiki, like all different sorts of energy healers are like really, really aligned with a reflector energy style.
So interesting. So are any other like combinations, or is the manifesting generator the only one that's kind of a combination?
The manifesting generator is the only combination.
Okay.
And some people who study human design say there are only four types, and the manifesting generator is a subtype of generator.
Mm.
Um, I like to talk about them as their own type because while they do have some similarities to generators, and I would say they are more similar to generator than like a combo of the two. They are primarily generator with some like manifestor flair in there. Um, but they do operate differently, right? Like
Mhm.
you are more likely to have several irons in the fire than I am. I'm more likely
Mhm.
to like have my main thing that I love to do and then go deeply on that. You're going to be more multi-passionate. Um, when we think of like a multi-passionate entrepreneur, someone who's like, well, like I have an Airbnb, but I also have my coaching business and I also like am a member of this community, right? Like they might have like several things that are not related going on all at the same time, which is totally
Yes.
fine. That's the way that you operate. That's the way you naturally work. And when we're able to say like, okay, I can tune into myself and I know that this is the way I naturally work, then it's a lot easier to eliminate like that idea of being afraid of competition or
Mhm.
comparing ourselves to our competition, because it's like, no, I'm on my track. I know the things I'm doing are aligned with me personally. Again, remember there's over a billion configurations. So like this is like very, very specific and very, very like true to who you are. And if you're operating within your design, then you're operating with your desires in mind instead of like, oh, I'm comparing myself to this person who does a similar thing to what I do. I like must be doing the things that they do, otherwise I won't be successful. And it's like, well, you won't be successful if you do the things that they do, because their energy is designed for their desires. Your energy is designed for your desires. If you follow their energy, you're going to get their desires, not yours.
Yeah.
And like that's not going to feel the same.
So interesting.
Sorry, I'm just like talking a mile a minute, but
No,
there's so
I
much
love
to
it.
cover
So,
in human design.
yeah, it's so interesting. I'm like, I guess I have a question of like what like celebrities or big name entrepreneurs are manifesting generators that have like kind of that
Ooh.
multi-passion. Do you know
I
any off the
actually
top of your
don't
head?
know. I
Okay.
don't I know that there's some people who look at like celebrities' designs. The only celebrity whose design I know is like off the top of my head is Taylor Swift. She's a
Mhm.
projector.
Mm.
And I know this because when she put out her documentary, there were a lot of human design people who were like, "Oh my gosh, everything's making so much sense." One of the big things with projectors is getting recognition. And
Mm.
so like when she put out her documentary about how like she was basically like living for the recognition of the crowd and was willing to do whatever it took to get that recognition, and how she was working. I mean, great example of a projector believing that their worth comes from how much they work.
Yeah.
And like a big part of the sales cycle for projectors is getting recognized for the work that they do and for like their brilliance basically.
Mhm.
And so like the human design community was kind of just like, oh my gosh, it all makes sense. Like she was just really trying hard to get that recognition and feeling like she was never getting it. So she kept working for it. Like perfect example of a projector.
Yeah.
Um
So interesting. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Okay,
So
so
I
help me
can,
make some better decisions
yes. I was like,
or
I can.
feel better, I guess, making decisions.
So, before I tell you yours specifically, I want to put this out there. There are several different types of decision making authorities. They all live in the body, they do not live in the brain. So, I'm going to repeat this. Not a single decision making authority comes from your brain. And I will tell you why. Our brains are open to conditioning, right? Like we know that we have our conscious brains and we have our subconscious brains. And our subconscious is where we store beliefs that don't serve us. It's where we store like quote unquote truths that are really lies about the world we live in. An amazing example is like you have to work hard in order to make money, right? That's a very, very common belief. This is like where a lot of those beliefs live. So when we try to quote unquote make a logical or a rational decision, we are making a conditioned decision.
Mhm.
So, like, if someone's like, I'm going to sit down and write out a pros and cons list, or I'm going to, like, I feel one way, but I'm going to switch into my rational brain and make a rational decision instead, we've been taught that that's like a coping mechanism for indecisiveness, right? We've been taught
Mhm.
to like switch to your rational brain if you're feeling really emotional about something, or if you're like, I don't feel like I can trust myself when I'm making this decision. Our rational brain is conditioned. Our rational brain is not actually rational. So, like, if you witnessed as a child, like your mom and your dad had like one fight about money, even though it actually wasn't a big deal, your brain as a small child can store that as if it was a really big deal. And now, as a fully formed adult, that belief's still there. So you're like, oh my gosh, I can't make a lot of money because then it's going to ruin my family.
Mhm.
And so then when you're sitting down trying to make decisions for your business or your career, and you're like, okay, I want to do this thing, your subconscious brain is not going to like move you in the direction of making money because they believe you'll lose all your family if you make money. So like when people are like, oh my gosh, like I need to make this decision from my rational place, or like I like am not trusting my decision making authority, I want to remind everyone, we don't use our brain because our brain is not actually rational. Our brain is conditioned. So all
Mhm.
of the decision making authorities use your body. So if you think about the different ways people talk about making decisions, right? Talk it out, trust your gut, sleep on it, trust your intuition. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
Pros and
Those are,
cons.
yes, those refer to different decision making authorities. Mine is to sleep on it, yours is to trust your gut.
Mhm.
So for you, that if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no is very true. You get an immediate, instant yes or no. If
Yeah.
I were to say, like, hey, do you want to, I don't know, go speak at this event? You would immediately be like, I'm not aligned with that event. Or, yeah, that sounds amazing. You would get,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask a question to you, you have what's called sacral decision making authority. It lives in the sacral center, which is your gut. It literally is like, yes, I immediately know, or no, I don't. But it has to be asked in the form of a yes, no question.
Mm.
And when it's something like, my brain is telling me, I'm going to use moving for an example, that moving to this new school district is going to be amazing because ABC, like all of these different reasons. But I asked my gut, and my gut's like, no, don't do it. And then you're like, but wait, it makes so much sense logically. Like, my friends live there and it's going to be closer to my work and the school district's amazing. And your gut's like, no, this isn't for you. Right. It can be really difficult not to like switch into that head, not to switch into that rational logic. But the gut always knows for you, right? For you, it
Mm-hmm.
is literally like, if I ask you a yes, no question, you will get a response most of the time. And then you need to trust that response. If you get a genuine, I don't know, it's for one of two reasons. The first reason is because you're too much in your head. You've been
Mm-hmm.
thinking, overthinking about it too much. For that, I recommend people like take a couple really deep breaths, like go for a walk in nature, do some yoga, do something that forces you to drop out of your head and into your body, and then
Mm-hmm.
ask again. If it is a genuine, I don't know, it is because you don't have all of the information yet to make the decision. So it
Mm.
could be like, I want to move into this house. If you haven't toured the house yet, maybe you would get an I don't know. Right.
Yeah.
How does all of that resonate?
Yeah. So it immediately makes me go to like, okay, how can I use this within my team? Right. So
Mm-hmm.
like I was just having this like social media kind of conversation before this call. And I'm like, ooh, I need to tell Sharon to bring everything back to a yes, no question.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes
Yes.
if I get like the blank canvas syndrome of like, I know that there's a gap here, but I don't know how to describe or explain what the gap is. And I just feel like I
Yes.
can't, it hurts my brain to try to figure it out. But you're so right that if someone just fired a whole bunch of yes, no questions at me, I'd probably be able to navigate, right? And like it might be
Right.
like
Yes.
75-25, but I would at least know that I can feel that 75%, like
Well, and
gets
the
the
thing
votes.
too is that like say I'm just going to make something up completely. Say that there's like a social media campaign that you're not feeling 100% great about, but you don't know why. You can even ask yourself these questions.
Mhm.
I have what's called emotional decision making authority, which mean and I'm a generator,
Mhm.
which those two things combined mean that for small decisions, I can use the yes no, right? You can't sleep on it when you're deciding what to eat for dinner. Like you can't be
Right.
like, I'll decide that tomorrow. No, you have to like make a decision in the moment. So I have access to that yes no in these small moments.
Mhm.
So, say there's like a social media campaign that's coming up that you're like not feeling great about and you're not exactly sure why. You can sit down and be like, okay, does it have to do with the imagery? Yes, no, no. Okay, does it have
Mm.
to do with the copy? Yes, no, yes. Is it copy for all of them? No. Okay, is it the copy for more than one of them? No. Okay, so is it the copy for this one? Yes, no. This one, yes, no. This one, yes, no. Like you can almost use it like your investigator and
Yeah.
like ask clarifying questions to get closer and closer and closer to the issue. So like I will even sometimes like be like, okay, deciding to make my dinner, right? I'll go back to that example. Do I want to make this soup tonight? Yes, no, no. Okay. Do I want to make something in general? Yes. Okay. So do I want to make like one of the recipes that I had prepared? No. Okay. So is it something that's like I'm just going to make up that's really quick and easy? Yes. And like you can ask these questions so that even if you like are like, do I want to make the soup tonight? No. You can be like, okay, well, now I can ask all of these other things instead of just being like, well, then now what's my next step?
Yeah. That's so
And
okay.
so,
I'm really going to practice that, asking myself yes, no questions. Cause I think, I really believe that like decision fatigue is a thing. And I think
yes.
for me, it's because I'm trying to not only make the decision, but to create the question.
Right,
Right? Yeah.
right. Yes. Yeah, so it can be really really useful. Sacral is a pretty common decision-making authority. All generators have and manifesting generators have some access to this sacral decision-making authority in
Mhm.
some areas. Like for me, if I'm making a big decision about like am I going to move someplace, I can't use that yes no. I have to sleep on it. I have to feel through my emotions on it. Um, but like some of the other ones, like I said, like there's a talk it out one, like some specifically projectors need to just talk about the decision and then have someone reflect back to them what they've said. There is one that's trusting your intuition, where you just get like a little hint, a little whisper, a ping of your intuition, and then you just have to go with what your intuition says. And it can literally, this is what I would say is probably the most life-changing part, because if you know how to make consistently like aligned and confident decisions, you're really able to say like, okay, like now if I'm sitting down and I'm saying like, do I want to launch a podcast? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, great. Now I know that that's my next step. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
sitting being like, oh my gosh, what's the next marketing tactic I should use? I have email marketing that's like an option. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's Pinterest, there's like doing lives. I could create like YouTube videos. I could like, right, there's all of these different options of ways that we can go in our business. And to be able to say, like, immediately, I know how to make a decision that's aligned and is the right choice every single freaking time, it's mind blowing. It
Yeah.
literally is life changing.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. So tell us a little bit, because I've always been told I'm highly intuitive. So I like believe that I'm highly
mm-hmm.
intuitive, right?
Yes.
So what is the difference between the gut, like sacral, and like that hint of intuition?
So, this is like an instance where I wish everyone listening to the podcast could see what a human design chart looks like,
Mm-hmm.
because and I'll just describe it to you. It looks like the outline of a human with 9 different, we call them centers on top. So, it's like a human with just like 9 different, like almost like boxes on top. And
And I
whether or not,
have mine, so I'll put it in the show notes so people can
okay.
see. Yeah.
And so, like, whether or not those boxes are colored in will let you know whether or not you have consistent or inconsistent access to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, the colors themselves do not matter. But if it is colored in, that means you have consistent access to that center. If
Mm-hmm.
it is white, it means you have inconsistent access to that center. So, a really, really easy one. Also, in terms of like empathetic abilities for people to understand is emotions. I
Mm-hmm.
have my emotion center colored in. Means I have consistent access to my emotions. If something happens, good or bad, if I'm frustrated, I could get emotional. This is something that like people are actually not really encouraged, that's the word I'm looking for, to
Yeah.
be emotional when we're kids, right? When we're growing up, it's like, oh my gosh, you're so sensitive. Oh my gosh, you're so emotional. Like what? Like you're fine. It's okay. Like you don't need to be crying about this right now. But even now, if I'm really, really stressed out, if I'm really frustrated, I will cry. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that I'm like so fragile. This is just how I process my emotions because I have consistent access to them.
Yeah.
You do not have consistent access to your emotions.
Totally
You
makes
have
sense.
that center white.
Yeah.
So when we think of people being like, oh my gosh, I'm such an empath, that means if you and I are in the same room and I'm sitting there and I'm upset, you will feel it. You will feel it as if it is your own emotions.
Yeah.
And unless you know that about yourself, and like even one step further, if you know that about me, then you can say, hey Katrina, like I need to like leave the room. I'm feeling your emotions. Like I gotta like get out of your energy space.
Mm-hmm.
But say you're in a like a coffee shop and someone there is really upset. You have no idea. You can all of a sudden feel this big old wave of emotion and be like, where the hell did this come from? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why am I all of a sudden just feeling like really melancholy or really sad? Like this isn't, and again, unless you know about human design, you might just be like, oh my gosh, like I feel really sad for no reason. I don't understand what's going on. If you know about human design, you might be like, oh, somebody in this coffee shop is feeling really, really sad, and I'm just picking up on their energy. Okay, like
Yeah.
I know that this isn't mine. I'm going to let it pass through me and move on with my day.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the centers is the spleen center, to tie this back to intuition.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have consistent access to your intuition. Like you do
Mm-hmm.
have consistent access to that, but there is a hierarchy of the different centers and which ones affect you more strongly than others. So your sacral center is higher on that hierarchy than the spleen center.
Mm-hmm.
So it just means that like you're making decisions based off of that hierarchy. It doesn't mean you don't have intuition or like you don't have consistent access to your intuition. It just means that your consistent access to your sacral stronger, or your sacral center is stronger. Does
Okay.
that make sense? I know I
Yes,
just threw a
but
lot
like
at you.
how would I feel the difference? So the yes no is sacral, but
Hmm.
intuition might be more like um
Like a vibe.
like I'm feeling like I need to go over there and sit next to my daughter. Would that be like an
Right.
intuition?
Yep.
Okay.
And you would not be making decisions based off of your intuition like that. Like
Mhm.
you might feel a wave of that feeling. And then you could be like, should I go sit next to her? Yes or no? Yes. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. So you can pick up on the vibe and then use your decision making authority to confirm. It would be
Mm.
probably what I would recommend. The when we talk about the intuition, we talk about it in terms of the senses. So if you've ever been like, I don't know, I he just like gave me a bad taste in my mouth, or like I walked in the room and like got chills, or like I just
Mhm.
got a really bad vibe, or like it made me feel sick to my stomach to be around this person. Like those
Mm.
are all actual like intuitive hits.
Mhm.
And so like if you like some people who have that as a decision making authority also like talk about it as if it's like a whisper, like I got this like little like internal voice whispering to me, or I
Mhm.
got like a ping. Like I've had a lot of people describe it as like a ping,
Mhm.
and that is more of like the way that the intuition hits you as opposed to the sacral center. And the like other big thing to know about the sacral center versus the spleen center, so the like gut versus the intuition, you can repeatedly ask the sacral center questions over and over again. Like
Mhm.
you could be like, do I want to sign up for this coaching program? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. And then kind of have self-doubt, like maybe your brain's working overtime, you're overthinking it the next day. Are you sure I really should sign up for this thing? Yes. Like you could ask every single day. You could ask multiple times a day and it will give you an answer every single time.
Mhm.
Your intuition hits you once and then never speaks again on that topic.
Mm.
So if you're not paying attention, you miss it.
Mhm.
And so that's why like having the intuitive decision making authority can feel really really difficult if you're not paying attention,
Mm.
because you if you miss that first initial whisper or ping or vibe or whatever it comes up for that person, then you just don't have it anymore. It's just gone.
Yeah, yeah. So you're saying I have access to mine, it's just not my strongest. And
Yes.
then is it something that like can be learned somewhat? So like I've learned to access mine maybe more than someone else with a similar hierarchy?
I mean, it's possible. I feel like it's more like learning how to embody it than
Mhm.
learning like more about it, if that makes sense, just to clarify for any listeners.
Mhm.
So like I first learned about my emotional decision making authority and I hated it. I was like, why do I have to be like the person that's emotional? Why do I have to be the person that has to wait 24 hours to make a decision? That was a big one. Like why
Yeah.
can't I just make one in them? I was so jealous of the sacral authority. I had like decision making authority envy. And since then, like it's been 3 years. I have been working on embodying this for 3 years. And I'm finally at the point where I'm like, I know how to use this. I know how it works. I know how to trust it. That's the hardest part for anyone with their decision making authority is trusting it.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm like, I know how to just say, okay, this is what my decision making authority is telling me. My brain doesn't understand. I'm going to follow it anyway because
Mhm.
I know that when I don't, it doesn't work out. Like
Mhm.
it's and when we talk about decision making authorities too, it's really important to follow them because your body is trying to save you not only from like the struggle and the frustration or the pain of the wrong decision, but it's also trying to save your energy for the things that are meant for you, for the
Mhm.
things that like light you up, for the things that are fun, for the things that bring you like satisfaction or peace or success, right? Like all of those like good emotions that we want to have. And so like it's about learning to how to embody like your decision making authority, or how to like there's so many more things that we can be talking about, like how to embody your sales cycle, how to embody your marketing tactics, how to embody like whether or not that you thrive on a structure, or like what how your energy plays with the energy around you, right? Like with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Um and learning how to, like for instance with the splenic authority, learning how to listen to that intuitive hit, learning how to like have an opportunity come to you, and taking a breath before like jumping into like, oh my gosh, do I do this, do I do this, do I do this, to just see what comes up in your body, right? It's really about self-awareness. It's
Mm-hmm.
really about bodily awareness. Like it's and that's more of like what you want to learn, and less of this like I'm going to learn all about human design so then I can understand it. It's more about like I'm going to learn how to listen to myself and how to trust myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good. And I'm like, I feel like I'm feeling a little bit of your like, oh my God, everyone told me that I'm intuitive, but I'm hearing the gut, and I'm like,
Mhm.
that's totally true too. Like that's 100% true. But I'm like, but how does the intuition fit in? But maybe like when I get a gut instinct about, and I always say gut instinct about someone. So maybe
Mhm.
I was describing it as intuition, but truly it was just that like
Mhm.
yes, no, like
That's probably what
effect.
it is. And the thing is like I said, you still have access to your intuition.
Yeah.
Like you have access to that. That center, the spleen center, that is where fears live. It's where
Mm-hmm.
like your immune system, intuition, your instincts, like your survival instincts, like that's where all of that lives. You have access to all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have access to those. I have that center open.
Yeah.
So like my quote unquote intuition, it comes sporadically. It comes like through my gut, right? The only intuition I have access to is those yes no questions.
Mm-hmm.
And this means that like I'll give you an example of what it's like to not have that splenic authority. That means that I will like I don't have fears the way that most people have fears, which just
Mm-hmm.
feels so weird to say. Like, obviously, like I can have anxieties or that kind of stuff. But if I'm like all of a sudden really afraid of something, I know that's just because of someone around me. Like when someone's
Uh-huh.
like, what's your biggest fear? I'm like, I guess like people dying that I'm close to. I'm not like, oh, I'm afraid of public speaking. I'm afraid of spiders. Like none of that exists for me.
Mm-hmm.
But what that also means is that I don't know when I'm in a situation that's bad for me.
Mm.
I can't tell. I can't
Mm.
tell when I meet someone and they're not good news and I'm like, "It's fine. I'll help you. I'll be the one that like makes you feel better about yourself." And my friends and family are like, "No, Katrina, no. This person is like not going to be like a good friend to you. Let's walk away." And I'm like, and I've learned to just trust them because I don't have that instinct. I
So
don't have the
interesting.
intuition around that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's a great way to tell if you do, if you're like, got a bad vibe from that person, we're not going there, or like I don't like this environment, or like this place is giving me the creeps, right? Whatever, like however it comes up, like that's your intuition speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I can't imagine life without that.
Yeah, it's crazy because then like we have things like I can't imagine life without my emotions, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to be able to like sit like I don't know if you guys are watching the Squid Games,
No, but I've heard
but
about it. Yeah.
I won't give away spoilers, but there was one episode that like made me very sad and I was just bawling on my couch alone. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, you know what? I just have consistent access to my own emotions. It's fine.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I do like there's some like shows that will pull emotion out of me for sure, but I definitely feel like I'm notorious for kind of feeling confused around my emotions because I'm
Mm-hmm.
probably having trouble accessing like what's a
You
true
just don't have
emotion.
consistent
Yeah.
like access to them. That's
Yeah.
all. Like I will watch the Great British Baking Show
Yeah.
and be emotionally invested every single episode, to the point that like the first time I watched it, I was with my sister and like she's in the middle of an episode and I just like arrive when we finish the episode and I'm like, upset that the person got voted off. And she's like, you don't even know them.
Yeah.
She's like, you don't know that person's name. You didn't even watch the beginning of the season or even the beginning of this episode. And I'm like, but they're so sad. And I'm sad because they're sad.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she's like,
yeah.
no.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, one of my best friends growing up, like, would cry in a Hallmark commercial.
Yeah, yeah. And like it's not just being like emotional in terms of crying or that kind of stuff. It also means like I feel my highs high,
Yeah,
right? Like when I'm in a really good mood, it is contagious. Like
yeah.
people around me are like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like just as excited and happy as you do." And I would say like there are some people who have really, really high highs and really, really low lows with emotional
Mhm,
authority. Mine is more so like I feel good or I'm not feeling the best today. Like I don't have such low lows, for instance.
mhm, mhm.
Um, but it happens differently for everyone, right?
Yeah.
It like you have consistent access to your own fears. I don't.
Mhm,
But your fears are not going to be the same fears as the person next to you who has consistent access to their fears. It shows up
mhm.
differently for different people. And we can use, in some ways, the rest of your chart to see some of that. But some of it also is just like life experiences, right?
Yeah, totally,
So,
totally. So freaking interesting. I'm so glad that we could have this talk, and I'm like, I could go down 10 different rabbit holes, but I know we both have meetings after
yeah.
this. So,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
thank you so much. What is coming up for you? How can people find you? What else would you like us to know?
Yeah, yeah. So, thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun, and I can literally talk about human design for hours. So we're gonna have
So
to wrap it up
fun.
at some point in time. um, I did want to like note for anybody listening to this, I do free decision making authority audits for people. So if you are ever interested in like learning about your decision making authority, come find me. We can talk about it. I can look at your chart and like let you know that information and how it'll help your business. Um, but otherwise, for me, it's just come and find me on Instagram. I'm there at Katrina.Widener. Or I have my own podcast, which is the Badass Business Squad podcast. So other than that, just thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun.
So awesome. And I'm definitely going to circle back after like a couple weeks of exploring this yes no concept. 'Cause
Yes.
I
Yes.
have a feeling it's going to be a game changer. Just knowing that
Yes.
about I didn't know that about myself. I knew that I had this like gut instinct, this intuition, but I never thought of simplifying it to that yes no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It literally is life changing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm like, I'm gonna go put this into motion like right now.
Yes.
So thank you so, so much. I feel like you and I were totally meant to like cross paths. We're gonna do some really cool
hmm
stuff coming up together. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait for everybody to listen and tune in. And I've been dying to learn more about human design, and I feel like now I got my feet wet.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.